Hello there and welcome. My name is Melissa Lemon and this is the 7th video in my meditation series, and today is the introduction to the sacred secretion. So I'm going to just talk very briefly about what that is, and that is a study and a practice of some of the mysteries in the Bible. And the general idea is that the secretion of our CSF, or cerebral spinal fluid, and its travel down the spinal cord and back down the spinal column and back up is symbolic of a lot of the things in the New Testament. There's cross symbolism, there's Jesus Christ symbolism, even the fact that there's 33 vertebrae and Jesus Christ lived 33 years. There are place symbolisms, like a symbolic place for Jerusalem, etc. And it's this kind of I guess I would call it a sacred hidden knowledge, hidden through, mediocre translations of the Bible. Maybe not even so much translations, but like when things were actually written down, maybe things weren't spelled out very well. And then when things were translated, a lot of things were taken out and things weren't very plain anymore. And this is like as plain as it gets. My videos, I just kind of have the belief, like if a kindergartner can't understand it, like why even try? Because it's important that people know this information, I think. So it's the release of our cerebral spinal fluid and its descent all the way down, and then it's traveling back up, but often that's prevented somehow. So the other part that's really important about the sacred secretion practice is it has to do with the movement of the moon and the transits of the moon. So the moon spends about 2.5 days in every zodiac sign. There are 12 zodiac signs. So the moon is in your sun sign about once every 28 to 29 days. And when the moon enters your sun sign, that moon, the power of the moon, think about how the moon has the power to control the tides of the ocean, right? Super powerful in the movement of water. And so your cerebral spinal fluid is liquid. It's, considered liquid state, just like the ocean. And so the moon traveling into your sun sign is kind of the ignition point, or the start of your own body's release of your cerebral spinal fluid each month. It happens once every month or once every time it's in your sun sign, which can be twice a month sometimes. So that is the very basic of what it is. Why do we care? So I'll probably talk more about this, but the basic idea is that if you can live a life where your fluids stay in flow, stay in constant, regular flow, then without blockage, the idea is that CSF is going to travel all the way down and all the way back up. For most of us, it's not traveling all the way back up every month, and probably hasn't been since we were little, and maybe has never been, because things like trauma, addictions, thought patterns, trapped emotions, digestion, like alignment problems, like a lot of things can prevent the travel of the CSF all the way back up to the top of the head, which we want it to get all the way back up kind of where it started in the pineal and pituitary glands. And so that's basically it. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about some of those things in the next several videos, but we're going to talk about finding the moon in your sun sign and all of those things. And I've got some exciting things coming up, offerings in my business about that, that I'll talk about probably later. But I think that's all for today. That's the introduction to the sacred secretion. Oh, and I totally forgot to mention the point of all that. If the CSF does come all the way up, it has regenerative power. So it can literally, like, our body basically goes through like self-generation and the creation of cells and all these things. And so it's healing. It's like our body's inborn healing power. So that's why we care. That's why it's important, because wouldn't it be great if our body could just heal itself all the time? So we'll talk a little bit about all those things I just talked about in my next 5 videos before I move on to the individual meditations. So the last 12 videos in this series there'll be one for each sign, and it will be a personalized or an individual personal to that sign, a suggested or recommended meditation for you to do during your sacred secretion practice, or really anytime. And that is what's coming up. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.